Well, first of all, glad you're here. Glad I'm here. What an exciting weekend. No better way to end the weekend than have a victory at homecoming. But if you look at it, all the things that happened on Friday with the homecoming parade, all the things that, with the fireworks after the game, just a lot of different things. It was really, really a nice weekend. I think all of our alumni and all of our former players and just fans who love ETSU and ETSU football obviously enjoyed herself a great deal, as well as myself. So it was a lot of fun. Like I told the players, it would not have been as much fun if we had not won that football game. And I hope everybody realizes we beat a good football team. Defensively, they're as good as a lot of the teams that we're going to play against in the SoCon. They've had some big, strong guys. Offensively, we did a really nice job of maintaining pressure, and I do feel like defensively we came out and played with a vengeance. Our guys had something to prove because they felt like the week before we did not play up to the best of our ability, and quite honestly, I agree with them. But I thought this past week there were a lot of big hits. If you look at the number of hits that we got on the quarterback, really affected him in the fourth quarter. We had a lot of guys that played extremely well. We'd have loved to have had a shutout, but anytime you hold a team without a touchdown, you feel like you've done pretty good. So it was really a neat game for our players because we needed a win to get us back to 500. And we'll talk about what we've got in store next. But you look at it, the good part of it, and like I say, I've started trying to divide this thing down into the good, the bad, and the ugly because I think it makes a lot of sense. But, we helped them to 211 yards of offense. I think they had about 60 yards of offense at halftime. So anytime you can do that, you've upped your chances to win. They had 183 yards passing, 28 yards rushing. We forced five fumbles. 3 of them we recovered. So we did a lot of things on defense that we need to do to give ourselves a chance to win. I knew, and we knew going into the game, points were going to be hard to come by on offense because of the type of defense they've had. They have played really well on defense all year long, and they continue to do that. But the defense, we held them on 2 of 12 on third down conversions, 0 of 2 on fourth down. They had 28 yards rushing on 29 attempts. That's absolutely, in today's world, that's phenomenal. Coach Taylor and our defensive staff, in my opinion, did an outstanding job of game planning, getting our guys ready. We used several personnel packages to get our speed and quickness on the field when it needed to be. And we played a lot of guys. And if you'll look out there, we probably had about 6 true freshmen that played, and they'll play more. I do feel like, after looking at what we've been able to do the last few weeks, that we had a really, really good year recruiting last year because most of the time, since I've been here, you're not going to have very many freshmen playing, but I do feel like we got 4 or 5 right now that could step out and be in the starting role and get the job done, especially when they're not running option. But, you look at it, they didn't score 1 time in their first 9 possessions, which is absolutely phenomenal. Offensively, we did some, what we did was what we've done all year. We didn't turn the ball over. We gave ourselves a chance. We did some things that will help us win on down the road. But, as a football team, I felt like we got better. And I think we're playing with some confidence right now, and I think some maturity, and that's something that we wanted to do going in. Landon Kunak, again, booted 5 more kickoffs into the end zone, and I want to say that's last 10 kickoffs have gone in the end zone for touchbacks, and that's pretty good. I remember the last 2 years before Landon has started to grow up that, we had a hard time kicking it inside of 10. So he's doing really well right now and playing with a lot of confidence. We've continued on a turnover streak. We've got forced at least 1 turnover in the last 11 games. And our average starting position last week was on the 43-yard line. Anytime you got that ball in 43, it's like I said, when you've got 53 yards to score, I did count that up right, didn't I, Joe? that adds up to 100, I hope. But, when we get the ball there, our chances to score go way up. And, we had a couple decisions, and I blame myself a little bit for that, which I know y'all like to hear that. But, there were a couple punts that we punted into the end zone that if I had to do over again, I would have punted, but I'd have probably taken a 5-yard penalty to back us up so that it wouldn't have gone in the end zone. But, I surely didn't want to give them the ball on the 40-yard line by going for it and not making it because, as evidenced by the score, it would have been that would not have been good if we had gone for it on 40 and not made it. So, you know, obviously it worked out well. The bad part of it, for the first 5 times we got in the red zone, we were only able to come out with 3 field goal attempts. We've had 255 yards of offense, so we were not able to get the yards that we needed to have to give ourselves a chance to win. And obviously we didn't rush the ball again well for basically two of the last 3 weeks. J.J. German struggled a little bit, but I don't blame a lot of it on him. He had 1 miss, and the rest of it, in my opinion, was protection problems that we got to get worked out. But that's the first time that I felt like we looked a little bit shaky on our field goal attempts, and it was a team thing, and we'll get that cleaned up and squared away so that we don't let that happen again, because that 1 miss, which was a team miss, it basically gave us a chance to get ahead by over 2 touchdowns, which at that point in the ball game, I didn't feel like they'd be able to come back and win the game. Probably the ugliest part of the game, we averaged 1.5 yards a rushing attempt. We had 54 yards on 36 attempts. We drove the ball inside the 5-yard line and didn't get it in the end zone. Had to kick field goals, which we don't like doing that. And then we had 7 series where we didn't even get a first down. And that anytime you do that, you got some problems. So overall, great win for our football program, for our football team, for our fans. It turned out the way we wanted to have. You know, when you got people griping after the game, after a win, you feel pretty good about yourself because you know you kind of arrived. Because I know in the past 2 years there wouldn't be much griping after a W, but that's part of being a fan. That's part of being part of a program that's getting better and better. But again, we beat a good football team. Defensively, we played extremely well. I thought our kicking game was solid. Offensively, we again need to rush the ball better to give ourselves a better chance on the passing game, even though we threw the ball and caught the ball pretty well. Kobe Kelly had a really nice game, and I'll say it again for the 6th week in a row. The great thing about it, you can't double cover one receiver we got, because it seems like every week somebody else is jumping out and making some plays that will give us a chance to win. But Coach Rader's done a great job with those guys. They understand they got to practice at a high level to get a chance to play. And you know, right now we've got a lot of guys out there that I feel very comfortable catching the ball in key situations when we need that. But like I say, a great win, great opportunity for us. Our Bowman Jeweler players of the game, we had a bunch of guys to choose from. Offensive player, guy we just got through talking about, Kobe Kelly, wide receiver from Knoxville, Tennessee. He had 5 receptions for 93 yards, 3 explosive catches. He had a career high in receiving yards and tied his career best for catches. And every one of his 5 receptions went for a first down, 2 of them going over 20, and they were big plays in the ball game because that kept drives going on 3rd down, on 3rd and long. So a couple of those got us out of a hole. Defensively, Nasir player, which all of you saw him, what a great game he had. You know, he's been banged up a little bit. He's shown a great deal of toughness dealing with some injuries he's had. He's practiced hard. He's just goes about his business in the way it needs to be going about. But he had 3 quarterback sacks, and for a defensive end to be able to do that, that says a lot about Nasir. But 1 week getting effort play of the game to the next week getting defensive player of the game, he's coming along, and he's got a chance, in my opinion, to be an outstanding football player. But you know, the 3 sacks were the most for any player in the SoCon this year, and you know, anytime you get 3 sacks, you've had a heck of a game. Co-defensive players, J.D. Griffin. If you watched him, he's gotten better week after week. He had 4 tackles, he had a sack, he had a fumble recovery. He covered kicks very well. He had 2 quarterback hurries, and we'll go back to the effort play in just a second. But he had, on the effort play of the week, he basically got knocked down, got back up, and made the tackle on the screen. But J.D.'s coming along. He's turned into a really good football player. So not only was he's the defensive co-player of the week, he could have been the special team player of the week as well. But we gave that to Adam Mullins, who is our long snapper. Most of you don't even know his number, but if he made bad snaps, I can promise you would know who he is. He's done a really good job for us for the last 3 years, game after game. Covers very well, but the main thing he does is snaps well. He had, for the game, and we base that on exactly perfect snaps. He was 11 of 12 on snaps, 5 on 5 on punts, and he had 1 tackle and forced a fair catch. So we felt good about that. But show team players of the week, 2 two guys that we couldn't do without, and Tremont Shorts, big offensive lineman from Hampton, Georgia, who I think has got a chance to be an outstanding player on down the road. And the best thing we can do, if we can, is to be able to redshirt him this year. And then a guy named Chris Stein from Bristol, Virginia, who does a good job for us week after week. But basically for the game, great win. It was a win we needed. It was a hard-fought win. We knew that going in the game. I had no idea, no thoughts of it being a runaway type ball game, and it wasn't. I mean, we had to play well to win, and that's our MO right now. We're going to have to play well each and every game that we play to have a chance to win. But I do think that our guys are mentally tough enough that when they get in a close ball game or get behind, that they've been through it, they've been there, done that, so that we'll still have a chance to win each and every week we play. Western Carolina, different animal, totally different from what we saw last year. You think I'm silly when I'm saying that right now they're knocking the digits off that scoreboard. I can tell you that. They are scoring points quickly and a lot. You look at their schedule, what they've done. You know, they've got they played some really good football teams. They got beat by Hawaii. They got beat by Wofford on just a tough loss. Wofford is, you know, obviously they're winning all the close ball games, which that's how you get ranked nationally. That's how you get in the playoffs, and that's how you win a conference championship. But you look at Western, they got beat by Hawaii pretty handily at Hawaii the first game. Then they've come back. They beat Davidson, Gardner-Webb, Sanford, who was ranked 17th at the time. They beat Chattanooga really, really bad. And quite honestly, they were ahead of Wofford to the very end. It just flipped, and they got beat. So that was a heart-wrenching loss for them. But you look at them, they will be as athletic as any team we play all year. I don't know if they'll be ranked this week or not, but they should be. You know, they're averaging right now 500 yards total. They've got averaging about 250 and 250 rushing and passing, so they can throw it and run it. You look at it, Detrez Newsome, it seems like he's been there forever, but he just, I think he finally is a senior this year, outstanding running back who has done a really, really nice job for them year in, year out. And he's a player that we got to worry about in the backfield. And their other running back is just about as good as he is, so we got to worry about that. But you know, you look at them as a football team, especially on offense. You know, they're averaging 40 points a game. They're averaging 260 yards a game rushing. They're averaging 244 yards a game passing, which is as balanced as you possibly. 500 yards overall a game, which is scary. And then when they do have to punt it, they got a punter named Berriman who's averaging about 46 yards a punt. So right now on offense, they're able to score a lot of points. They're playing with a great deal of confidence. Their quarterback is truly an outstanding player. I thought he was really good last year, but I think he's even better this year. He throws the ball exceptionally well. And you know, he's a guy that if we don't take care of him, then we got some problems. I can tell you that. You look at it, they've got 9 starters back on offense, which I did not realize that. So they've got most of their offense coming back. They did lose quite a few guys and backups on offense and defense. But, you know, you look at it overall, they got 9 starters back on offense, 7 starters back on defense, and one of their special team players back, which is the punter. So they've got a lot of guys back. There is no doubt in my mind that they'll remember what happened last year at Bristol, and I'm sure they are harping on that right now. Mark Spears, who is a very, very close friend of mine, he's done a great job at Western Carolina to get them keep coming back. He's taught them how to fight. If you look at them as a football team, they're playing very solid defense right now. They're obviously can score all over the field on offense in the running game, passing game. They run the option, they run the zones. They've got a very, very diverse offensive scheme, and they got skilled guys at the wide receiver and running back positions that can make things happen. And then if everything else breaks down, then the quarterback takes off, and he is an outstanding runner. He runs quarterback draws, he runs quarterback sweeps off an empty set, does a lot of things there. So they'll be, in my opinion, not talking about a wishbone type team, a true conventional today's offensive scheme. They will be about as good as we play. They can run it, they can throw it. They got outstanding athletes that when they get the ball in their hand, they make plays happen. So we know what we've got in store for us. But going back to Coach Spears, he's done a great job with that program. He's got a really good coaching staff. He's from there, but I know him very, very closely, and he's an outstanding football coach, and in my opinion has done as good a job as anybody in this conference of developing a football program and giving them a chance to win week in and week out. So, yeah, but it's going to be fun. I think our players are excited about it. They know that we had a barn burner with them last year at Bristol. We were fortunate enough to come out on the good end of that one, and we're going down to Cullowhee for one reason, and that is to come back with a victory. We know it's going to be a tough battle, but, you know, I think every game in this conference, like I said earlier, it is the SoCon is to FCS like the SEC is to FBS, because week in and week out. Now, if you look at who's beating who, and if you look at some of the scores from last week in the SoCon, everybody, it seems like every week, gets beat that wasn't supposed to get beat. So, you know, this conference could very easily, Wofford right now has got the crystal ball because they've been able to win all the close ball games they've played, but other than that, everybody else is win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it comes out at the end of the season. But what a better way to go down there after 2 weeks ago, having a tough time to win that ball game last week at homecoming. I do feel like our players will go down there with a lot of confidence and a lot of excitement. We know it's going to be a tough challenge, but I think our players will be up for the challenge. So, questions?
Every week we talk about the running game. Is there some point where you might just say heck with it and just start bringing it around?
No, Joe, I don't think, you know, we're not built like that. Obviously, as a head coach, I'm not built like that. I do feel strongly that you've got to have a running game, and if you don't have a running game, you better have 3 or 4 quarterbacks, because at some point that quarterback is going to get nailed, which if you look at the last 2 games, even last game now, Austin got nailed a couple of times that could have put him out. And I hate to say it, he's as tough as you'll find. He's been a great leader, but the more those quarterbacks get hit, just like Robert Morris has got hit last week, then pretty soon that's going to take some confidence away from you. So now we've got to develop a running game. We've got to get ourselves out of 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8, because if we don't do that, then it's going to be hard to be consistent and have a chance week in and week out like we need to, because at some point somebody's going to take the ball and not give it back to us, and then we don't have a chance to win.
What if it just doesn't develop?
If it doesn't develop, then, you know, we're going to keep working until it does develop. I mean, we feel like we've got players. I mean, I think we played some good defenses, but that's not an excuse, because we're going to continue to play good defenses. Robert Morse had a really good defensive line, but there are no excuses. I mean, we've got to do a better job. We've got to make sure that we got the right running backs in there for the right plays at the right time. We got to make sure that we do a good job of blocking inside, because we not only got to be able to develop something inside, we've got to do it on the outside edge as well. If you look at the game, you know, we brought Fallon Lee in. He did a really nice job. But again, we got to have more than just Fallon Lee. Dontavius needs to come forward and get it done. You know, it's the next man up syndrome. I can sit here and say, well, Juwan Stinson's out. Well, he's out. I mean, that's not, they don't put an asterisk by how much you rush for, how much you don't rush for, how many you win or how many you don't win. It doesn't matter. I mean, all it's concerned about is making sure that we've got enough depth and we've recruited enough guys that if we have an injury or have a problem, that we got somebody else to stick in there.
Juwan out indefinitely?
No, I don't think so. I thought he was going to play last week, but he just wasn't 100% when the game started. And as you can see, if he wasn't 100% against those big old guys, we were going to have some problems. So we need to get him completely well. But I think we've got 4 or 5 running backs, even though they hadn't shown it yet, that have a chance to be, you know, get the job done for us the way we want to get it done. But at the same time, obviously we've got to do a better job up front of developing some holes in there, because I don't care who was running last week. I thought during the game that, you know, we may not have been hitting the crack or hitting the right hole, and that had nothing to do with it. There was not much air in those holes to run through early. I thought later on we got a little bit better, but still we've got to develop. We've got to be better in the running game, and not only do I know that, you know that, everybody else knows it, and we know it as a football team. But you know, those are the things we feel strongly about: keeping ourselves out of 3rd and long, making sure we don't turn the ball over, which we hadn't. Making sure on defense that we don't give up big runs, which when we've played well on defense, we have not done that. When we hadn't played well on defense, such as Furman. There were several big runs that got us in trouble. So, you know, we're a football team right now. We're not exactly where we want to be, but I think we're heading in that direction. But, you know, when I look out there at the crystal ball, get better in the running game, continue not to turn the ball over. Our kicking game, do as well as it's done. We're getting better on kickoff returns. Punt return, we need to get better on. Defensively, continue to do what we've been doing, but at the same time, make sure we don't give up big passes or big runs. And when we've done all those things, we've had a chance to win. Even the games we lost, the game was close when we were doing those things.
The team usually does well in the red zone. Any worries from last week having to settle for field goals?
No, I mean, you know, main thing, to me, red zone is different. When it gets inside that 10, you don't want to come out there with field goals. If you're in the 25 to 30, just kind of in that long-range red zone, then you want to make sure you get points out of it. Last week we didn't do either one because we got a couple field goals. We missed one. We got a couple blocked, which wasn't good. And you know, if it gets inside the 5 now, we need to be able to put it in the end zone. And I don't, as a coach, need to have to make a decision on going forward on 4th down and 1. I mean, if I've got to do that, then obviously we need to get better in the running game because I want to think our football team is good enough and physical enough that if it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 on the 1 or going for a 1st down midfield, that we can do that and not have to worry about making it.
You kind of surprised Western last year. I guess the element of surprise is gone now that they're kind of looking forward to having you.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that they are excited about having ETSU come back to Cullowhee, North Carolina for the first time, I think, since 2002, because I think the last game was played here. Is that correct? Come on, Kevin.
Yeah.
Is that right? So, I mean, it's been a long time since we've been down there. They'll have a full house now. I don't have any doubt about that. But at the same time, we talked about it yesterday, our players will be and need to be excited about going down there and make sure we did do and did what we did last year and what we plan to do this year, and that's have a chance to win the ball game going into the 4th quarter. We know we're getting ready to get in a situation that probably a lot of people don't think we go down there and win, which is fine with me. But at the same time, we know they've got a really, really good. They're playing with more confidence right now. They've got, in my opinion, more skilled athletes. Even though they had a lot of these same skilled athletes last year, they're making plays. I mean, they got wide receivers, 2 of them. That are, you know, they can catch it and run with it after the catch. They've got 2 running backs that run very well. They got a quarterback that can run it, throw it, and make things happen if everything's covered. They've got a punter that can change the field position, and defensively they're playing much, much better than they were last year.
Are you seeing what the defense ran against Furman? What are they going to run against Western Carolina? What Western's going to run against you?
No, I mean everybody's going to copycat. I mean, if something's successful against us previously, you know, you're going to copy it as much as you can, but you're not going to move completely out of your scheme. They're similar, but they're not the same. And obviously, you know, they've got good athletes. It's a different ball game. Every week's different. I mean, you look at Furman's offense enabled their defense to do some things that maybe Western Carolina won't be able to do or will be able to do. But we can't get in a scoring match with Western Carolina because they, like I say, I just got through saying, I mean, they're averaging 40 points and over 500, close to 600 yards a ball game. So we've got to make sure that we can take care of what we can. And for us to do that, we need to be able to run the ball. We need to be able to run time off the clock. We need to make sure we don't turn it over. We need to make sure we change field position.
Any other questions for Coach? One thing to note on that, that's our last SoCon road win